it's finally confirmed, Season 2 is indeed delayed for Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ. That report from 2 days ago turned out to be true, and in the meantime, we're left with another near month of wait time for new content. The one silver lining to all of this is that we finally got some communication from Infinity Ward and the official Call of Duty socials. So today we're going to run down this announcement and everything else that you need to be aware of when it comes to Modern Warfare 2's Season 2 update. As we go along, drop your thoughts below. Frustrated? Happy we finally have some communication of some kind, maybe a bit of both. Whatever the case, drop it down below, but let's get into it. So the initial report from Monday was from Charlie Intel via CODsploits, who data mined that with the recent adjustments to the game files in regards to shot bundles and their scheduled release dates, that Season 2 would be getting a delay from the slated time of February 1st to now what we see of February 15th, 2 weeks later. That report sat unconfirmed for 2 days until just a few hours ago when Infinity Ward and Call of Duty posted scheduled tweets confirming this report and providing a bit more insight. The official Call of Duty post stated, Season 2 will be launching on February 15th. Our studio teams have been making several changes based on what we've heard from our player community. Season 2 includes all new content with the return of Resurgence and a brand new small map for Warzone 2.0. Ranked play is also back and coming to Modern Warfare 2, along with new multiplayer maps, new modes, weapons, and much more. Stay tuned for additional intel, with Infinity Ward then quote tweeting that, adding, "We look forward to sharing more details on the updates coming to Season 2 in a deep dive studio blog next week. This includes exciting changes to Warzone 2.0, including the Gulag, looting, and loadouts more soon." So, listen, I'll be the first to say that I'm frustrated as ever that we have to deal with another seasonal delay, making it, if my memory serves me correctly, the 5th seasonal delay in 4 years. Modern Warfare 2019's Season 2 was delayed, Cold War's Season 1 and Season 5 were delayed, Vanguard's Season 2 was delayed, almost to the exact timetable that we see as of now, 1 year ago, with an announcement for that being made on January 19th, with a delay of Season 2 until February 14th, again, almost identically mirroring today's announcement on the 18th, pushing the season back until February 15th. And now with this announcement, Modern Warfare 2's second season delay, that's the 5th one we've seen in 4 years. So we'll probably touch on that in a second, but the silver lining again, this is the most we've heard about the content coming to date yet, and if we're lucky, there's a decent amount of stuff to look forward to. Expectation-wise though, admittedly, I'm tempering mine up front. Better to be expecting nothing and be pleasantly surprised than expecting the world and be disappointed. But the content that we now have confirmed includes Resurgence for Warzone 2.0 and ranked play for Modern Warfare 2 on the big sort of major addition side of things. Both of these items have been theoried and leaked for a bit, but now are officially confirmed and we can count in the mix. Resurgence being that mode from Warzone 1 with respawns that are returning, but also coming along with a brand new map that we'll see for Battle Royale, as well as DMZ, and with likely integration if the initial leak holds up for Ground War and MP as well. Now, whether or not that will add into the playable aspects immediately in terms of Ground War, DMZ and Battle Royale absolutely will see that initially on day one, but if it's also for Ground War, maybe it's added in with that to bolster out the multiplayer offering as well, but fingers crossed if that's the case, it doesn't take away from anything here that would be previously scheduled beyond that. Now, ranked play, this again checks out with prior discussions we've had. Bummer that we now have to wait even a little bit more, as it's now delayed even further by association with the launch of Season 2, but that theory we've had for a while based on it being launched among other ranked play launches historically seems to now check out. We've also seen recent leaks of information of what to expect, but for simply a more focus on that for those interested in it and for the sake of time here in this video, we may have something describing all those leaks coming soon, but we won't go too far in depth with that here in this video. But then they confirm the normal stuff as well, maps, modes, weapons, and air quote more, so fingers crossed we actually get enough content worthwhile and not just 2 MP maps like we did with Season 1, because I'll say it again, billion-dollar franchise, 3 uninterrupted years of development with the most studios we've ever seen work on a Call of Duty title, less than optimal numbers at launch for the maps and modes within Modern Warfare 2, and still only getting 2 maps a season, 1 a month, or in the case of Season 1, 1 every month and a half is just absurd. But we'll save opinions for later. Let's just stay the course here for simple facts at the moment. Beyond that, they also mentioned the teams have been making several changes based on what we've heard from our player community. While that's nice to hear, again, I'll believe it when I see it, because we also heard that exact same thing at COD Next and the presentation there, only to have a version of the game that got us into this sort of mess to begin with, where it seemed like feedback was being actively ignored. One can hope that applies to a lot of things, but right now, it's too broad a statement to try and pinpoint specifics instead of just a general statement here at that. Infinity Ward's statement, where they quote tweeted the official Call of Duty account, clarifies that we'll have a bit more in regards to Warzone's end of the spectrum, but perhaps for some MP things, we can hope for some changes there as well, like maybe the absurd penalties to ADS for simply adding attachments and other things that I'm sure you can think of. Now, right now, we can guess, but again, more information coming next week as detailed by Infinity Ward. As for when that deep dive blog post post will be coming. That, again, has no information just yet, but next week clarifies in the work week, Monday to Friday. 2 dates that stand out in particular would be Monday and Wednesday. Wednesday in accordance with the update schedule that we normally see for playlist updates and things like that, but also Monday could be a time frame for that since reveals happen mostly to start the week in the Call of Duty IP and marketing. Further following that stuff though, Infinity Ward's tweet clarifies a bit more on specific changes to the Gulag, looting, and loadouts upcoming. The Gulag, the only things that I can think of here that would be changing would be the fundamental 2v2 nature and maybe the Jailer. I get the novelty of the 2v2 Gulag, and hell, I do like sometimes getting 2 free kills whenever I go in there, but let's be honest, being paired with someone who's more often than not an anchor or a detriment to your chance of getting back into the game has always been fundamentally flawed. The Gulag was a great idea in Warzone 1 because it gave you a chance to fight for your place back in the game, not rely on someone else. And sure, while there may be that rare time where you do get carried back into jumping into the game again, more often than not, again, you're probably not going to see that happen. The Jailer, I end up either winning or losing my Gulag more often than not than whenever he ends up coming into it. So I guess maybe the fact that he's got a minigun, that could be changed out, but we'll see where that goes. Looting, while not specific, I'd be hoping to see an adjustment made to the loot vomit, i.e. how it spits off a dead player and the interaction with the world around it. I've had multiple times where loot is inaccessible because it's clipped through the ground, a rock or something, and even when it is lootable, sometimes stuff is just so tightly packed that the UI can't differentiate what you're trying to loot unless you're pixel perfect on that selection. That kind of stuff needs to change. Loadout changes, I don't know what they do besides add another loadout drop event or lower the price, but honestly, I'm not really even worried too much about that one, more so other things. What I am hoping to see though for the Warzone conversation is just more quality of life stuff that we saw in the final year of Warzone 1. Honestly, I thought Raven did an awesome job with some of the stuff they added in with Warzone 1 in the Vanguard year. From better HUD elements, better lootable items, better gameplay utility, and so on, there's so much stuff that was just completely taken out of the game and not really even considered when we got to the base version of Warzone 2. Now, fingers crossed some of that stuff comes back with Season 2, but what I bet will happen and does suck is that I bet Raven is at the helm right now for Warzone 2, but I honestly think Infinity Ward's probably going to be taking the credit for these changes, which, again, doesn't seem too fair. Now, what I hope to see beyond all of that is obviously more content. Like I've said plenty of times, 2 multiplayer maps for a single season is just... that's unacceptable, man. I mean, again, we've said it already, 3 years of development, uninterrupted, all the studios working on this game. How do we only have 1 map a month here for a season? That shouldn't be happening. Very bare minimum, we should see 3 to 4, if you ask me, in the traditional 6v6 sense, and not when they're remakes, especially with Season 1 being 2 maps of both remakes. So, like, fingers crossed we get more on that one. Beyond that, though, stability fixes. Strangely not mentioned in either of these posts by Call of Duty and Infinity Ward or any of the number of bugs or stability things that are going on with the game right now. The big one to me is that gameship.exe issue that is a major crashing issue. I've said it in passing, but the video that was meant to go up on Monday before this story really broke, it's kind of amazing to me that we haven't had an update in this game since December 14th, but somehow crashing issues have come back in absolute droves the past few weeks. It's like the game's been unraveling, which doesn't make much sense because nothing's been added in or taken to the game structurally on that level. You need a title update for that. So I feel like I've never really seen this before, simply a game existing, yet having more issues as time goes on without anything adjusting it. Stability-wise, I'm just praying for some fixes because the only silver lining to my issues that I've been having is that I'm not alone with this. I found out by discussing it here in videos prior that a lot of you guys are having this issue with crashing as well. I thought that maybe with a new system that it might have been a hardware thing, where I spent days meticulously testing my GPU, CPU, and RAM, and perhaps looking for issues that just didn't exist, all because I couldn't last even 5 minutes on the menus of Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ without it crashing. But with so many people mentioning that this is happening to them as well, it makes me feel a little bit better that it's not necessarily me just purchasing a massive paperweight at that point. It's just more so the game and the optimization here with this. I mean, I've done everything you could possibly think of to try and mitigate these changes, changed out every driver version launched since the game launched. I allowed access through Windows Firewall. I uninstalled and reinstalled the game 4 times on 3 different SSDs. I tried all the weird in-game adjustments people have said worked, disabling parallax effects, in-game overlays, adjusting texture streaming, and so on and so forth, adjusted VRAM values in the game properties, adjusted my system's factory clock and overclock settings, adjusted the DOCP profile and BIOS for my RAM, adjusted the paging file size. I even reinstalled Windows twice. So like, stability is definitely a thing that needs to be worked on, and fingers crossed Season 2 brings that along. And then beyond that, actually worthwhile changes. I don't want this to be something where they say they're listening to the community and then again, everything the community suggests just gets ignored. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. End of the day, I'm still very frustrated here. If you are, I think you have every right to be. Fingers crossed that this is a worthwhile change in these additional 2 weeks that we get from the initial launch of Season 2 to where we are on the 15th. Fingers crossed that actually gives us something to be happy with in terms of the game state. But again, tempering my expectations. As sad as it is to say what we said earlier in the video, I'd rather expect nothing and be pleasantly surprised than expect the world and be disappointed. But in all honesty, that's how I kind of feel right now is the best course of action, which sucks because we have a game called Modern Warfare 2. Clearly it just sells on the name alone, but it's so frustrating right now. So, I mean, fingers crossed all this happens, but the report is out there. Officially, Season 2 is delayed. Just wanted to fill you guys in on what all this means and what we can expect in the meantime. So that said, that's what we're going to call it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys looking forward to Season 2? Are you upset with this Season 2 delay? Are you happy that maybe we're seeing some stability added in on the back end to fix all of this in that 2-week period? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so it's a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ. We'll keep you up to date with everything you need to know. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.